Alright, so I wanted to make a video about pavers and why not to use sand. This is Gabriel Shirk with Handyscapers. So I'm going to show you guys something, and I will fight anybody over this that tries to say otherwise. If you are a customer or if you are a hardscaper and you are trying to use sand to level off your pavers, or if you are a homeowner who is having a contractor come out and they are wanting to use sand, do not let them at all. I don't care what they say. The only time sand is going to be okay as a paver base is if there's some kind of overhead roof, like a patio with a roof over it. That's going to be the only time that it could possibly be okay. Other than that, don't do it. Don't let it happen. And anybody who's got something to say about that, I will argue with you over this. Now let me show you why. Okay, I'm here removing these pavers, okay? Now, look at this. This is done with a sand base. Look at these weeds everywhere. Weeds everywhere. Where I've pulled these bricks out, look at these pile of weeds that I've gotten. Crazy. Alright, well, that's not the main issue. The main issue here is the fact that these pavers are wavy. And if you allow somebody to come lay pavers at your property and they're using sand as a base, you're going to have this problem. If you are a contractor and you are trying to use sand as a base on a customer's property, you're going to get a call back. Or you're going to have a very upset customer and you're going to get a bad review. Now, this don't necessarily happen right away. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes a few months. Sometimes it takes 5 years. But the end result is going to be this every time. Okay, disregard the weeds, because you can get weeds even using a limestone paver base or a 411 as a paver base, which is what I mainly use, is a 411 or a limestone paver base. So when you do a paver base, you want a mixture of fine limestone grindings, like a dust. You want anywhere like a 57 gravel kind of, which is what you find in your typical driveway. It's going to be a mixture of stones, anywhere from the size of 57 gravel all the way down to like limestone fines, and like a dust powder. And what happens is when you use that as your base, when it gets wet, it compacts and gets hard like concrete. When sand gets wet, it does the opposite. It begins to break up. Sometimes you get puddling, and you'll actually get sand coming up through the pavers, like right there. Okay, the sand eventually worked its way up through the pavers. All right. Now, look at this wall where it comes to the foundation. Look at this. This is all from water. And freezing, thawing, freezing, thawing, freezing, thawing, and so on. Okay? So I highly recommend you never, ever use sand as a paver base. Alright? Now, here's what I do sometimes, and I've never had a problem. I have retaining walls that I've done. I have patios that I've done 10 years ago that still look the same as they did then that they do today. Alright? So, now let's say you're using 411 as a paver base, or limestone fines as a paver base, okay? Well, actually, limestone fines, no, but 411s, yes. If you're using 411s as a paver base, the reason why I say no to the fine limestones, is because those are easily manipulated to get a level consistency. All right, 411s is a bit more difficult. So what I do, all right, so for this patio here, I would dig down roughly about 4 to 5 inches deep. As long as it's only being walked on and no cars driving on it, then I would go deeper. But let's just say 4 to 6 inches deep, okay? I'm going to have a paver base of 411s down first. Now that base is going to be roughly about 3 to 4 inches thick. All right, it's going to be compacted, okay? And don't forget, when that stuff gets wet, it hardens like concrete, right? All right, so sometimes what I'll do is, let's say I'm laying some pavers or a retaining wall, and I hit an area that I thought was level when I first checked it, but it turns out that it's not, and it needs to be raised up like a 1/2 inch or something. Then I could use sand to raise it up a little, okay? Do not use 100% sand as a paver base, because this is the end result. Now, if you want to use a thin layer of sand of like a 1/2 inch thick to just help level out the 411 paver base, that's absolutely fine. But again, do not let a contractor use sand as a paver base. Now, like I said in the beginning, if there's, like here, I'm tearing this patio out because it's trash. Straight looks like trash. I'm tearing this patio out, and they're getting a deck built, okay? And then I'm coming back and then doing a outdoor fireplace. All right, now when they get this deck on, there's going to be a roof, like a lean-to kind of, tied in up here where the vinyl siding is messed up. It's going to be up there, tied into the side of the house with a double header, and then it's going to come out to roughly about out to here, okay? Now let's say this roof was here, and then the paver patio is here. That roof is protecting this patio from the rain, okay? So there, it might be all right to use sand, but as you can tell, there's no roof here now. Sand should have never been used. I advise strongly against using sand, and I know there's many other people out there that would say the same. I'm sure Stanley Genetic would say the same. I'm sure Tigran would say the same. And there's a lot of people in my local area that agree that you should never use 100% sand as a paver base. So that's all I wanted to touch on in this video. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Alrighty, see ya.